Welcome back to the Us Girls Basketball Podcast, where we hear from real women, real ballers, and real stories. Guys, today this is such a bittersweet episode because it's our last episode of season 2, which is like absolutely insane how quick everything's gone. And just like this season, like how many people have been on the podcast, how many stories. I felt like there was just a big growth in the podcast this season, which makes, I know Emma and I super excited for next season.
Very excited.
Yeah, so we're just gonna go over a bunch of stuff today. Like one of the big topics actually is we want to go over Emma joining the podcast, because if you have been listening to every episode, Emma did join in. I would say, I don't know, it was probably like a month and a half in.
Yeah, I think so. Like season 2 was just getting going. Yeah, it was kind of just, I started as, one of the people that were a guest on this podcast. And next thing you know, after we were done, we talked for like 2 hours afterwards. We're like, hey, this could be something. Like, we could really like work with this. So
big time.
It's been crazy. It was kind of early in season 2, so
it was very early. Yeah, it was very early. And like, I guess backstory, how about that? I can say my side to it and then you say your side. We can do that. So backstory, two things that go into this is there is a woman named Deanne Coffin. Well, now Huber. Huber.
Yes,
I always want to say Huber, but it's Huber.
I know.
So Deanne, if you're listening to this, my bad. But
I love it though.
So I grew up with Deanne, and Emma became teammates with Deanne. And I had Deanne was actually the first episode of season 2. And she just like all of a sudden, bless her heart, was like, hey, I can get you some guests. Like this was like, dude, solid. I'll take any guest that wants to be on here that I really feel like aligns with this mission. So she was just like dropping names, and like we had some bomb guests at the beginning. And then one of them was Emma. And actually, I think I remember messaging you, Emma, in California. I think I was messaging you in California, and because I was out there for another project. If you guys don't know, I have like 5 projects going on at all times. So I'm in California.
You guys know like that episode of SpongeBob where his brain is just like, that's Jay, 25/8. But in good things, like good things are coming. Like we're so excited.
But it's just a lot being in my brain. So I'm in California, and it's like for some project that's actually like just completely different than what Us Girls is, like completely on the different spectrum. So I'm messaging Emma. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be back, whatever. Let's do this episode. So, we were like scheduling the episode, but honestly, just such an answered prayer, because I was praying really heavy over the podcast and like guests, and just like, we're kind of like, God wanted this to be led and open doors. And I was praying about, because you guys will hear something about this later, but God gave me a vision for Us Girls Basketball. And I remember just being super like into it, praying about it, like writing it out. Like, I mean, I'm talking like sketch this thing out, and I'm not a sketch artist at all. So like I was praying about this thing heavy. And I remember just like in my head, I was like, I want to be able to like have a team and like hire people, or just like have that like person who helps me and like has the same vision and goals, and kind of the specific things that I was looking for. I was just like, yeah, this would be so cool. And then I get Emma on the podcast, and she just like started talking, and I was like, she can hold her own. Because like some people are nervous, to come on the podcast, which I get. So sometimes I feel like I have to do like a little extra work, but I would just like ask Emma the question, and she's just like, go off. I was like,
I'll go.
Solid. I was like, this is great. And then I don't even know how we started talking, but afterwards, like pretty much, obviously you guys know Us Girls Basketball is really huge on mindset. And then I figure out your stance on mindset and your stance on like your degree and all of this stuff. And I was like, and then you play college basketball, and then you were like somebody who aligned with me morally and like what I wanted in my business and all these things. And then I just literally, like, the Holy Spirit was speaking to me during it, and he was like, open the doors to Emma. I was like, I literally on the spot was like, so Emma, like, I know, like, whatever, but like, I want to like formally let you know, like, if you want to be a part of Us Girls Basketball, like,
you can do
this is your whatever it's called, not job application, but this is your, your whatever.
Here's
I can't think. What's the offer? Yes. I was like, what's the
Yes.
I was like,
It
here's
was
your offer.
insane. It was awesome. I just remember like being that guest and being so excited to like do a podcast like this and
Yeah.
to find out like through the end like what the purpose of this is with the inclusivity, like these girls coming together to share their stories for the next generation and how just amazing that is in its own right there. And I've just always felt comfortable talking as well and explaining like my story because my story could help someone someday. And that's
Yeah.
something, you know, maybe I wish I had growing up. And it's my turn to use my voice and to give it back. And it's things like that that we like connected on. And next thing you know, like we finished a whole season 2 together. And it's just, we've had so many crazy guests and so many lessons and whatnot. And just to like finish that podcast with you and how it went so smoothly and just talk for a few hours after and be like, you know, like we could make this something. And it just kind of went, and it's like the best decision I've made. So I'm really happy for being
oh my
part
gosh. Well, I just want to say thank you for all that you do, because like I don't think this season 2 would have been the way it was without you. Like just having your support and knowledge.
Always,
first of all, that like that helps so much. So I just want to say thank you. And I really do appreciate you, Emma, for all that you do. And it's just like really cool to like look and like, guys, you have to understand too, is like I gained a sister too. Like it wasn't like just a co-host. Like I gained a true best friend and sister out of this, which is
literally.
like here, like like much, but
no,
like
I know, but like y'all don't understand. Like we do these podcasts, but then like we'll spend like hours on the side just talking about life. You know, sometimes we don't even talk about this podcast, but like this is like our common ground to help both of us build, and we still have each other outside of this.
Exactly.
That's what the kind of the kind of people I want in my life to be. Bible. See, I'm thinking about it like it's just all stemming around
people in Bible.
But it's just like those are the people I want to surround myself with. And I was given an opportunity, and it was a dream come true because it's always something I've wanted to do, was share my story and be more than just a guest in some way. And maybe I just didn't know how to even get started on my own, and an opportunity arose, and it was awesome. I was going to take it no matter what.
It's so cool. Dude, I also want to ask you too, because I never asked you this, but like what I want to hear your backstory to like hearing like coming onto the podcast first. Like one, what was your thoughts? Like were you excited, nervous? Like did you like not really know what to expect? And then two, what was like almost your thoughts after we logged off? You know what I mean? Or like that kind of journey within that next few weeks of like were you almost like wait, what is going on, what is this, like what just happened? And then like obviously being like, I mean, I got you right on with the next guest.
Like it was soon.
It was really soon because well I had you actually I like I had some episodes pre-recorded, so technically by the time you filmed your episode there was already like 2 or 3 episodes ahead of you, so technically like you were hired for 3 weeks or like teamed up with me for 3 weeks before even
and that's
being able to guess
them up.
So what were your thoughts? I want to know.
Absolutely. So I remember Deanne reaching out to me, and she's like, hey, this girl Jay, she's gonna like reach out to you, like I know her, played with her, grew up with her and whatnot. She's doing this podcast, and I just remember her telling me like her message is just to get like college athletes, especially women basketball players, and to share their journey, their experience, the good, the bad, everything about it, because that is what college sports is. That is what life is. That is what we're doing in this world. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. And it was so cool to me because I was in the process of also leaving a toxic undergrad environment. And when I transferred schools, and I'm like, this is like a sign for me to be like, hey, what I went through, it was real. It really happened. Someone's reaching out to me because people have heard what I've went through, and they think it would be viable to, you know, spread it out there and be like, hey, if this is happening to you, it isn't okay. Maybe you might think it is, like, and whatnot, but you know, something is going on. And so I was just like ecstatic, honestly, to be like, you know, this seemed like a really good platform with a very good like main idea of what like where we want to go and who we want to target for this. And I was all for it. I was head over heels remember I was a little bit nervous. I was like, I've never met her. Like, I don't know. Like, I know Deanne and whatnot. But I was like, I know this is going to be awesome. And like you said it right when we started going and talking about it, I felt so comfortable. I felt welcomed. I felt heard. I felt appreciated for who I was then, what I went through, and who I am now.
Yeah.
And I think it was just amazing. And then after that podcast was done, after talking for a few hours after that and whatnot, the past weeks after, it was unreal. I remember telling my parents, I remember telling friends, and they're like, this is huge. Like, this is the best thing like we've heard in a while regarding like women's sports. Like, that is awesome. That's what some of these kids need. That's what my daughter needs. Like, my friends' parents were saying, and my parents' friends were saying, or whatnot. Like, it's just something that needs to be addressed at a time like this. And who's better to do it than you right here, who has a story? And then me teaming up with you, like, we both have good stories to tell, with good intentions, good hearts, good minds, and to bring that together. And I haven't regretted it since, and it makes me so excited to still even just look back and be like, did that really happen?
I know.
Like, are we really here right now? And I don't know, when I tell people I have a podcast to do, or like I scheduled time to do this, like we have a meeting or something, it's immediately like, oh my gosh, like, how's that going? Like, who's your next guest? Like, how did this season go? When's the next one coming out? And it's just, this constant support, because people want to hear something. They want to hear a voice, and you have the courage to do it and say something. And we both do. And I think it's just a crazy power to put together. I'm just so happy about it.
Wow. That was cool. That just made my heart happy, because it's really cool. Because one thing that I don't know if like the word struggle is, but like my mind goes to is like, sometimes you think like, are people really hearing this? You know what I mean? Like, is this really making a difference? Especially like, we're not speaking live, it's not even an Instagram post where like we post on Instagram, but it's not one where it's like, you can like a podcast episode immediately or like this. So sometimes it's like, you are like, am I speaking to anybody? But like to hear that, or like get a message the other day being like, I see what you're doing, you know what I mean? Keep going like this, or like hearing what your, even like you said, your parents' friends are saying, who they don't have to listen to this podcast.
Exactly.
This has nothing to do with them. Like like, I mean, like you said, they might have kids and it might encourage that, but it's not like in their world anymore. So just the fact that like they see the value just reassures us so much that we're on the right path that we're doing. And we're obviously growing and adjusting. And I mean, even just like personally, I mean, gosh, we were talking about this the other day. I feel like the beginning of 2021 is a whole different year. Like January through May, completely different year. So like if we look at that, like we've grown so much as people within that little bit, which just I feel like translates to the podcast. Like and then going into season 3 here soon. It's just like unreal, and like what we have for it, and our plans, and just how we want to elevate it and make it a better experience for everybody else too. You know what I mean? It's not just about, I don't know, like this is the one thing I will say. I do want to put this out there, is the podcast is so fun for me. Like starting at this, and I know for you too, but just speaking from, my experience, like every other social media thing, everything else was about almost numbers for me, for business. That's just my mindset, is like, how can I make a business out of this? How can I do whatever? So like Instagram, you're doing all your algorithms and this, and even like TikTok now and YouTube, like all this stuff. I'm like constantly like, how can I grow? Like literally, like that's always in my mind. How can I reach a new audience? The podcast, I'm not even kidding you, for like a span of like a few months, probably more, I like didn't even look at how many people watched the episode. And like people were like, dude, like, don't you want it to grow, or don't you want this? I'm like, I'm just having so much fun with it, and actually connecting with these women who are coming on the podcast. Like it's not just about like, who can we get on for numbers? It's like, I actually want to know your story. I actually want to know who you are. I want to give you the opportunity, or we want to give you opportunity to present your story. So for me, like, that's why I think it's been even more fun and not like a stressor. Because I'm not worried about the numbers. Yes. Do I want the numbers eventually? Of course. We both do. I mean,
everyone does. Yeah,
it's, you do want, because at some point they do matter, but like it's been really cool the past 2 seasons to just whatever, you know what I mean? Like
it's been really
whoever
cool
needs
to
it,
like
needs it.
see a passion grow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to especially like get out there in this message, and especially this past season with all the amazing guests we've had, the amazing stories we've heard, like how much the inclusivity is within this whole thing that we're doing, the whole main idea behind it. Because I remember, I remember saying it, but I don't remember what video it was or what guest we had on. But I said something like, you know, basketball, the game of basketball doesn't judge, no matter shape, size, color, gender, height, no matter what it is. The game of basketball does not judge. And I think just hearing that and putting that out there opens the door for so many people who feel like they can't be heard or that they aren't seen.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to do. If you got a voice and you want something to be heard, or even if we just talk about it, like you don't even have to be on. If it's something you don't want to be present for, you are heard. Everyone has a story to tell. Everyone has been through something that's made them who they are today. And we are who this next generation is looking up to ultimately. And we decide to set a good example or a bad one. And right now we're on the path of setting like the best one we possibly can as the women we're supposed to be in this world and what we're supposed to do. And I think that is everything with it. And especially with every guest that we've had has been so just grateful and so understanding of like their own talents and what they've been through, and that they even see the bigger picture of what they went through is a different message to relay back to people who haven't gone through it or might be going through it right now. And I just think it's the inclusivity of this whole Us Girls basketball thing is amazing.
And if you like haven't catch the underlying message is like, again, we say it at everything, like real women, real ballers, real stories. The reason why we want to set these examples is because we've been through it. We're not perfect and we've messed up, and we want to help you not make those mistakes. Now, there are some things like you literally cannot prepare for, even though 5 million people have gone through it. You can't prepare for until it happens.
Yeah.
But that's why we're here. Like, it's almost like this, like we want to be like big sisters, you know, to you, and like, and just be open. And like, we're not afraid once to tell you like who we were and who we're becoming. And because that's growth, you know, I believe everybody goes through those seasons. So that's like, it's been just the coolest thing ever to just,
and I think,
have other women appreciate, no, just saying like to have other women like appreciate it, and then they feel welcome to say it themselves. Cause like everybody on the podcast, I was like, there's no one that I'm like, oh, there's more to your story that you have to give. Like you're holding back. Nobody has done that. So I think that that's like
laid it out there.
Really cool. And like for you guys who are listening, like take that, like in your life, you have to understand like everything you're going through, even if it's not the exact thing, people have gone through it. So you being open and vulnerable with your story, like I can't tell you how many times I was so nervous to say something that I went through that like I did not want to say. And then I just felt led to say it. And I said it. And that person like looked at me and was like, wait, you know what that feeling is? Like, you know how I'm like, okay, I see why I was led to say it. So like be open, be vulnerable. 2022 is about vulnerability, people. Season 3, vulnerability.
Love it. And the thing is, like, you have to be vulnerable and uncomfortable to grow. And I think that's something that you hit on really quick, is the growth not only we've seen within ourselves and our journeys in this podcast, but the growth you can just see in our guests when they get the chance to talk about what they've been through and where they are now. And every single one of them, I'll put my name on it. Every single one of them has been thankful that what they went through or what happened happened to them, because it's who they are today. It's these people who are now playing overseas. They're professionally coaching, they're professional players, they're trainers, they're producing their own athletic lines. Like, what they went through inspired them to open up their mouth, to speak their message, and to go with what they wanted to go with. And that is the whole purpose of this thing that we're doing. It's, we will give you the opportunity to open up, to be like, you know what, this is it, I'm going with it, let's grow with it. And I think it's awesome, the guests that we've had, and it makes me so excited for next season, because even though, like you mentioned, yeah, at the end of the day, numbers are awesome, but keeping that same message is going to open up the door so much more. And then it's just going to just bust wide open. And that's huge. That's huge.
Exactly. So, obviously, like, we are so thankful for our guests and like who we've had on the podcast. And the conversations that have been said. Like, it's just something that's like super cool, and highly suggest going back and like re-listening to those, like if especially if this is like your first few times, because each woman had something really, really important to say, and I feel like you can connect with a lot of different messages that they talked about. But let's move on really quick and talk about season 3. We just want to give a teaser what season 3 looks like, so
totally.
We're pumped because we just want to take it to the next level. You know what I mean? I think season 1 was really cool. It was just me, whatever. Hi. And then season 2, taking it to the next level for the first few weeks, and then obviously growing massively with a co-host, which was the coolest thing. So we have growth there. And then actually it was, I think Shayla was the first one that was video. So I knew, I was like, I want to do video. So we had 2 big things that happened. So now we kind of like did it. We figured it out, whatever. So season 3 is going to obviously be the same format. Emma is going to be our co-host always. So she's coming back, everybody. Not leaving, whether she wants to or not.
I'm not leaving. Yeah.
She's not allowed to leave. And then video, but we're going to upgrade video. So be on the lookout for that. Just, we want to have better quality stuff. So that we're going to get Emma a microphone.
Girl, I'm so excited.
No more AirPods.
Yeah, literally. I know. It's like, we need to upgrade. We need to move
AirPods
on.
serve their purpose.
Yeah.
But we're upgrading.
Yes.
So love that. And just like, obviously guests, like we're reaching for the stars on some of these guests. So just be on the lookout. Plus too, if any of you guys who are listening know somebody or want to be on the podcast, let us know. We're all ears. We want to hear your story out too. So, and then there's just other big things coming for just us girls basketball in general. But we aren't going to say that yet because it's going to be next year.
Top secret, guys.
Yeah, it's top secret. You're not supposed to know that. And then we are going to, once that stuff gets closer, you'll know. We like to tease content and stuff, but that will be about, I don't know, end of springtime. Yeah, not end of springtime, beginning of springtime. For some of the things, there's just going to be just some few launches in 2022. And this podcast will start back up December time. We're taking November off. But yeah, so it's like going to be like a really cool kind of transition into the new year almost, but like kind of getting started before the new year. Cause I don't know about you. This is also a different tangent. I'm not somebody for New Year's resolutions, because I'm like, if I want to set a goal, I'm going to set it now. The only New Year's resolution or New Year's thing I do is I have a word for the year, and like, but I start like praying on that word. Like, actually, like I should have started praying on that like a month ago, but like, whatever.
You got it.
Like, I just kind of like think of a word, I pray on it, and then like kind of seeing like that's like my word of the year. Like that's my theme. That's what I focus on.
I like that. That's nice.
That's what I grow. So I don't really do like, my only goal to, again, this is like literally completely unbasketball related, both of these things. But I only had one other goal, and it was to read the Bible front and back. Other than that, I don't do goals. But like I do goals, but I don't do goals.
Don't do goals. Yeah. I do goals.
New Year's resolution. Like, I'm like, I want to go now. So I think it's kind of cool starting back in December, because it's like, we get the swing of things going, and then it's like a month into the new year, and like it's already like, bam,
Exactly.
Anyway, that was like the
so exciting. I'm excited.
I talked about like so many different things.
It's because we're just so like excited to get like this next up and step, this next growth with you guys, to give you better quality, better content, and to still keep you just as involved. And like Jay said, if anyone has a story to tell, wants to, you are more than welcome to reach out to us. We will keep the doors wide open. And even so, like I mentioned too, if you don't feel comfortable, but it's something you want to have talked about, we can always just do it us and whatnot. But we want to make sure that what's on your mind is heard and can get out there in any way possible.
Well said. I like that. That was a good.
I like to talk. Yeah.
We love talking. If you can tell. I swear every time Emma and I actually do, like today was actually really good. I think it was our least amount of time spent talking, but we'll talk probably an hour before even recording a podcast.
Doing it. Yeah.
And then we'll do another hour.
Yeah.
Today I think was only like 20 minutes.
No, literally.
But it's only because we talked on Thursday.
For like hours. But it's all like out of like so much love for each other in this podcast. So like it's always appreciated to talk with a good friend and have a good moment.
Always. I love it. Emma, do you have anything else to say before we head off?
I'm just thankful to be here, happy to be part of season 3, ready for it to get started, get rolling, and man, we're shooting for the stars, like we said. So keep following us, keep listening, reposting. You know, if anyone else wants to reach out or has something on their mind, or just even tell them to listen if that's something they might need to hear right now. We're here and we're ready to keep growing. So stick with us. We promise you good things are coming.
Amen. Well, I don't really have anything else to say. You nailed it all. So I love that so much. Guys, like make sure to reach out to us at Us Girls United on Instagram. You can check out too our personal Instagrams, which mine is jtappedxoxo, and then Emma's is ewolf with 1 E. 2 E's. 2 E's. That's right. It's 2 E's.
Yeah.
I knew that.
EWOLFEE. Yes. That's just me.
Exactly. So you can find us both on that. As well as, guys, I've been dabbling in TikTok. So I'm going to do a shameless self promo. Right. It's the same thing, jtappedxoxo, but like there's a lot more like basketball videos on that platform as well. Kind of more that TikTok-y content instead of like what you see on Instagram. It's a little bit different. So that's been something
very relatable too. Cool. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Definitely. So go follow those. Just because we're taking a break on the podcast doesn't mean we're taking a break on social media. There's still going to be a lot of content coming, and that's going to be a really good time too, because November is like that's when games start. So it's not just about what you do in preseason, but it's how you maintain it and in the season. So we want to give you guys a lot of good resources for that, as well as just a few products that can help you along the way. We did just drop something called the basketball season success guide, and that just like brings you along for the season. So that's something that I think you guys should look at. Other than that, like we have a lot of resources for recruiting, colleges. I know like season, like you're starting to hear more about college coaches and that stuff. So just be on the lookout for those things and whatnot. Just kind of house cleaning things before like you don't hear from us for a month. So just dropping all this information. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for listening to season 3. It's been, season 2. I'm so excited for season 3.
So excited.
Season
exactly.
3. So excited. But thank you for season 2, everybody listening.
Thank you.
We cannot wait to see you guys on season 3. Make sure to rate and review this podcast, as well as share it with anybody who needs this. I mean, watch it with your team on the way to the game. One have one AirPod in, the other have the other AirPod in. Like, watch this. Like, get hyped.
2 birds, 1 stone. There you go.
Team bonding. We love it. But
always,
we're just gonna stop talking because I'm just gonna ramble. But with that being said, make sure to, again, rate, review this podcast, follow us on Instagram at Us Girls United, and we will see you guys in season 3.
Season 3.
Peace.